Okay, Pause YouTube, SixftHax here, bringing you guys today another Wi-Fi battle. If you may have missed my battle from yesterday, I'll link to that should be somewhere on the screen or at the end of this battle, so definitely go check that out. In today's game, this is going to be NU against KyleRare off of my Discord. Now, this is a team I just kind of threw together because I really wanted to try out Venusaur and Blastoise in NU, and actually currently Venusaur is being suspect tested in NU, which is kind of crazy. I didn't think Venusaur would be that good, but we have Specs Blastoise, which is something I really wanted to try out as soon as I saw that Blastoise drop to the tier. So if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to hammer arm that thumbs up button down below. So let's go ahead and get this started. Going into this matchup, I completely overlooked the fact that Passimian is going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with. Like, yeah, I have Venusaur, but it can just kind of come in, force my switches, and then U-turn out and gain him momentum into some of his offensive threats, which is going to be really annoying to deal with. So he ends up leading off with his Incineroar, as I end up leading off with my Blastoise. I am Choice Specs, but I'm pretty positive he's not going to stay in here, so I'm going to fire off a Dark Pulse, thinking that he would potentially bring in the Slowking, which I think Slowking are typically assault vested still in the NU tier, so I could have gauged to see how much damage I was doing to that. But he actually ends up bringing in the Altaria, and I'm modest Choice Specs, and that Dark Pulse did nothing. Like, come on, man. I didn't think I would be doing that little to the Altaria. Like, yeah, I did a little over 50%, but there's no way I'm going to be able to beat him 1v1. So I Dark Pulse again, because I wanted to see what he would go for. As he Toxics me, I'm going to switch out here into my Sneasel, expecting him to most likely go for the Roost. There was also the chance that maybe he was going to try to switch out, and then I could potentially catch whatever came in with my Sneasel, but he does end up staying in here, going for the Roost. And this is nice, because now I just click Banded Knockoff. He doesn't exactly have a safe switch in, and if he really wants to bring in the Passimian, if it's Scarfed, I can knock that off, which means it's not going to be as scary to deal with, because then it's not going to be outspeeding a majority of my team, as where if it is Scarfed, it outspeeds my Sneasel along with everything else except for my Delphox. So again, Passimian, kind of a big issue I overlooked. So I end up bringing in my Steelix, thinking he would go for the Milk Drink, and then I think he's going to Milk Drink this turn, but he switches out into the Slowking, and I don't completely agree with that play. If he had gone for the Milk Drink, he could have made it to the point where my Sneasel couldn't 2-hit KO Milk Tank on the switch in next time, but I mean, it's not that big of an issue, as he did bring in the Slowking. I think he's going to want to go for the Fire move, potentially expecting me to bring in my Venusaur, but he actually just ends up going for the Scald, which does make a lot of sense, because he could have potentially burned my Venusaur, and burning Venusaur could be a little bit annoying, but it shouldn't be that big of an issue, but it would have been annoying. Regardless though, he does go for the Scald. That's fine. I can just fire off a Dark Pulse here. Just wanted to try to get some damage off on the Slowking, but much like earlier, he is going to make the safe switch right back into the Altaria, and I'm doing nothing. Like, 25% isn't that bad, and I really wish I had gone for the Ice Beam. Like, I should have seen it coming that he wasn't going to stay in. It didn't really make a lot of sense for him to leave in his Slowking, and I apologize that none of my Pokemon are nicknamed. What the heck? I'm pretty positive this is like the first battle that I don't think a single one of my Mons is nicknamed, or like a majority of my Mons are not nicknamed. So that's not going to happen again, I promise, guys. But I will be able to bring in Sneasel here, as I think I double switched out, expecting his switch into the Passimian, or expecting some type of switch, and then I switch out here, or he doubled out, and then he caught me on the double, because I'm not staying in against Sneasel on Passimian if it's Scarf. So yeah, then he U-turns as I bring in Venusaur, and I believe I just go for the knockoff, considering that I could get rid of an item from whatever came in the following turn, which is going to be really nice, because getting rid of leftovers on the Altaria is going to be amazing. So he U-turned on my switch in the Venusaur, then Altaria, and just... Okay, I got lost for a second there. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get back into the swing of thing, guys. It's been a minute since I've, like, narrated a battle back to back to back, so I just have to get into the groove and fine and dandy, so don't worry. But this little portion is going to be sped up, because it's kind of like a little stally part of the match. I can't really do anything to him outside of spam Sludge Bomb, and he can't really touch me at all, because you saw how little that Flamethrower did to me. So eventually I will get the poison, and I'll be able to hopefully beat him 1v1, especially because he does not have the leftovers anymore, since I was able to knock him out. So he does end up going for the defog there. A little bit annoying, since Rocks would have been extremely nice to chip down the Vanillux, the Incineroar, and the Passimian, and especially that Altaria, so it could stop switching into my Blastoise as I Sludge Bomb the incoming Vanilluxe, do a solid 25, almost 30-ish% there. Obviously, I don't want to stay in here and get smacked by a blizzard, but I'm really not even worried about this Vanilluxe because I do have Assault Vest, thick, fat Hariyama lying in the back here, and I will be able to bring it in. And that still does a really solid chunk of damage. This thing is screaming to be choice specs, and I'm just going to knock off this turn because there's no real reason for him to leave in Vanilluxe. Vanilluxe is not going to beat me 1v1 because he has locked into Blizzard. And I end up going for the knockoff as I catch the incoming Altaria. I'm thinking, alright, I can finish him off with the Bullet Punch, right? I don't have to worry about this thing. It lives on 1. He told me it lived on 1 HP, and I got so annoyed, man. This Altaria should be gone. This thing is something else I completely overlooked, and it's becoming a giant nuisance for me to deal with. And he's gonna go for the flamethrower, crit me, which doesn't matter too much in the long run of the game, as long as he didn't burn me. Like, the crit is fine. Like, I will gladly take a crit over a burn because this is thick fat Hariyama. I'm not Guts, so if he had burned me, then my attack would be halved and not boosted. So I believe I go for the Bullet Punch again, or I close combated. And then this turn, I close combat again, expecting him to go for the Roost because he knows just how annoying this Altaria is to my team right now in this game. Like, I need to break through this thing, I need to get rid of this, and thankfully the close combat into the Roost will put this in range of Bullet Punch and knocking him out, which is amazing because now Altaria is gone. It's one less switch in that he has for my specially offensive threats in the back. However, though, he does still have the Slowking, which could prove to be a little bit annoying, but right now I have to deal with this Passimian, which can just go for U-turn. Like, there's nothing stopping him from going for the U-turn, except maybe he thought that I would stay in, predicting him to U-turn, which is why he actually ends up going for the close combat this turn. And this is really good for me because I had a set in my mind, okay, he's gonna U-turn, so I have to just answer whatever he does. But because we went for close combat, I'm in a position of where I can just click Sludge Bomb. With him not having Altaria, nothing on his team really appreciates switching into a Sludge Bomb. As you can see here, even though I'm defensive, I still do a good amount of damage to this Incineroar, which means this most likely is offensive, which could be a little bit scary. So I'm going to try and bring in my Blastoise in hopes that I can maybe scare him out because max speed Blastoise is faster than Incineroar, and he probably does know I'm more of an offensive set, so I'm hoping that I will be able to scare him out here. But he ends up making the risky play, and it pays off because he does actually end up outspeeding me, considering that this Blastoise is not running max speed. I think I only have about 152 speed EVs, and this is actually really terrifying because nothing on my team is going to knock out this Incineroar at this high amount of HP. So I'm going to bring in my Hariyama, hoping that a Fake Out plus Bullet Punch will put this in range of where I can maybe revenge kill it with my Delphox, but it doesn't. And now not only am I going to lose my Blastoise and my Hariyama, but I'm going to have to sack something else off to this Incineroar in order for my Delphox to even have the possibility of knocking it out with a Dazzling Gleam. But as I bring in Sneasel, he's actually going to switch out, probably fearing the fact that I could be carrying the low kick. I'm guessing that Sneasel will still carry that, but I believe I was Pursuit, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard, and Knockoff, so I had no super effective move to damage the Incineroar with, as I'm going to be able to KO the Milk Tank on the switch, and this is really good. That's one less issue I have to deal with. However, though, in comes this giant ass threat known as Passimian, and I'm going to bring in my Steelix, fully expecting him to go for the U-turn. I didn't want my Venusaur in the back to take the damage, because I do want to try and keep it as healthy as possible to maybe try and 1v1 the Slowking here. As he does U-turn into the Slowking, I'm hoping that he actually overpredicts this turn, because if I can get Rocks up, Rocks are going to be really nice to chip down the Incineroar to guarantee it in range of my Delphox in the back. I'll get off chip damage on the Passimian as well as the Slowking, but he does still make the obvious play in going straight for the Scald. And this is not that big of an issue considering that I don't really have too much use for my Steelix at this point in the game. Like, Steelix lost to the Slowking, to the Passimian, the Incineroar, and even the Vanillux. So outside of getting rocks here, there was no other real reason for me to save Steelix except for maybe Death Fodder later in the match. So I'm not too upset that he did just Scald there, as I will be able to bring in my Sneasel. There is a possibility he'll expect me to go for the Pursuit, but realistically I lose absolutely nothing in just clicking knockoff. I click knockoff and something basically gets KO'd after the fact that I was able to get up Stealth Rocks. Although I guess Passimian could have switched in to take the knockoff, but if he loses a Scarf, then that's really huge for me, because then at that point Sneasel outspeeds everything that he's got left, and Sneasel right now is a giant issue for him to deal with. So down goes the Vanillux, in comes the Passimian. Much like earlier, I am not staying in against this thing. I have no reason to stay in against this thing because I need my Sneasel to hopefully try and win this matchup, considering that he does still have that Slowking in the back, as he actually ends up going for the knockoff here, which I was not really expecting. I thought that maybe he would try to go for the U-turn, but I do guess it makes sense, because if he had gone for the U-turn, whatever came in is going to be taking rocks damage and hail damage, and Incineroar is already really low, and then Slowking doesn't really do too much outside of psychicking my Venusaur, as I actually get a crit poison with the Sludge Bomb on the Slowking, and this is really huge because now I don't have to worry about this thing anymore. After I go for this knockoff, he's in range of where the poison or hail is gonna knock him out. Now if I didn't get the crit or the poison, I would have had to try and keep this Slowking at around 40% in order for my Delphox to have been able to KO him with the Dazzling Gleam, because at full HP, if I didn't take any damage whatsoever, I can live one modest Scald and then get off 2 hits on Slowking, and 2 Dazzling Gleams to max HP non-assault vested Slowking did roughly like 36-40-ish%. I'll try and put the damage calc on the screen. So the fact that I did get that crit in the poison basically ensured me the victory in this battle, because now my Scarf Delphox outspeeds and beats both Incineroar and the Passimian. So even though he brought in Incineroar on my Psychic, that's not really a problem at all, considering that I can just sack off my Sneasel, bring back in Delphox, and Dazzling Gleam at this point does guarantee knockout Incineroar, and then after Passimian takes the next Stealth Rock switch in, I'm pretty sure it's guaranteed in range of where Dazzling Gleam will also knock it out. So he's gonna go for the malicious 450 splash. That is not a moonsault. A moonsault is like a half backflip where you land on your stomach. I don't understand why they called it the malicious moonsault. It's the malicious 450 splash, okay? That's what it's called. It's not a moonsault. So I'm gonna bring in my Delphox, Dazzling Gleam, and his last mon is the Passimian, which he is Scarfed. I am Scarfed. Delphox is naturally faster than Passimian, so I will be able to guarantee outspeed this monster, man. I did not think Passimian was gonna be this huge of a threat in this game. Like, I saw it and I was like, oh, it's a Passimian, it's not gonna do anything. No, this thing was an absolute nightmare, and I just barely pull out the 1-0 victory. So very good game to KyleRare there, guys. Hopefully y'all did enjoy the intense game. Make sure to hammer arm that thumbs up button down below. Check out yesterday's Wi-Fi battle, which is gonna be right after this, after I say goodbye. Thank you guys, love y'all. We'll hopefully have another one up tomorrow. So later, everybody.
No matter where you're at, I'm not here to make friends, it's time to attack and deplete your HP with a final smash. Don't make me turn around and pull a 6-foot hacks. 6 foot hacks, yeah. 6 foot hacks, yeah. 6 foot hacks.